I'm sorry, honey, but the rental house is just too small for all of us tonight, Marcus said, not quite meeting my eyes as he stood in the driveway of the beautiful beachfront property we booked months ago. You and the kids will have to find somewhere else to stay. I stared at him in disbelief, our two exhausted children slumped against me after the long drive to the Florida coast. The words made no sense. We'd specifically chosen this 4-bedroom house to have plenty of space for our family vacation. My name is Olivia, and at 34, I never imagined I'd be standing outside our $3,000 per week rental home at 9 p.m., watching my husband of 12 years essentially lock us out. Our kids, Emma, 10, and Lucas, 8, were too tired to even protest. Having endured the 8-hour drive from Atlanta with nothing but dreams of beach days ahead to sustain them. Marcus, this makes no sense, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We looked at the floor plans together. There's more than enough room. He shifted uncomfortably, glancing back at the house. Things changed. My work colleagues showed up unexpectedly. They need the space for an emergency project meeting. Work colleagues? You're a high school gym teacher. What emergency meeting requires a beach house? But he was already turning away, grabbing our suitcases from the trunk and placing them on the driveway. Here's some cash for a hotel, he said, pulling out his wallet. I'll call you tomorrow once things settle down. I looked at the measly $100 he held out. In peak season, that wouldn't even cover one night at the cheapest motel in town. If we could even find vacancy. Marcus, we can't. Mom? Emma's tired voice interrupted. I need to use the bathroom. Marcus stepped back toward the house. There's a gas station about a mile down the road. I'm sorry, but you need to leave. Now. The door closed with a decisive click, leaving us standing in the humid night air. I helped the kids into our SUV, mind racing as I tried to make sense of what was happening. Through the windows of the house, I could see shadows moving, hear faint laughter that definitely didn't sound like a work meeting. Mom, I thought we were going to build sandcastles tomorrow, Lucas said, his voice small and confused. We will, sweetheart. I promise, though I had no idea how I would keep that promise. Let's just find somewhere to rest first. The nearest hotel wanted $400 for their last available room. The next one was fully booked. The third didn't answer their phone. After an hour of desperate calls, I pulled into a beachfront parking lot, trying to figure out our next move. That's when I saw her, a woman walking along the moonlit beach, holding the hand of a little girl who looked around Emma's age. Something about her seemed familiar, though I couldn't place why. They headed toward our rental house, the same one my husband had just barred us from entering. I watched, stomach churning, as they walked right up to the front door. It opened immediately, spilling warm light onto the path. And there stood Marcus, greeting them with the kind of embrace that told me everything I needed to know about his work meeting. Mom, Emma's voice came from the back seat, more alert now. Isn't that Dad's friend Melissa? The one from his phone? My blood ran cold. Melissa. The name I'd seen pop up on his phone too many times over the past year, always dismissed with excuses about parent-teacher conferences or school events. Now here she was, walking into our vacation rental with her daughter while we sat in a parking lot with nowhere to go. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white, tears threatening to fall. But I couldn't cry, not now, not in front of the kids. They needed me to be strong, to figure this out. I reached for my phone, scrolling through contacts until I found the one person who might be able to help. Olivia? My sister Kate's voice was groggy with sleep. What's wrong? I need your help, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. And I need you to help me access Marcus's email. Remember when you helped set up his accounts last Christmas? Please tell me you still have those passwords. There was a pause, then the sound of typing. Give me 5 minutes, Kate said, fully awake now. And Olivia? Whatever he did, we're going to make it right. I ended the call and looked back at our rental house. Through the window, I could see Marcus, Melissa, and her daughter settling in for a cozy evening in the home I'd spent months saving for, planning every detail of what should have been our perfect family vacation. What Marcus didn't know was that I'd been quietly preparing for something like this. Not this exact scenario. I never imagined he'd be cruel enough to make his own children sleep in a car. But after finding suspicious text messages and unexplained charges on our credit card statements, I'd started documenting everything. My laptop contained a folder labeled Family Photos that actually held screenshots of every questionable transaction, every late-night text, every unexplained absence. I even hired a private investigator last month, though I called them off when Marcus seemed to recommit to our family, planning this vacation with enthusiasm I hadn't seen in years. Now I understood why he'd been so eager to handle all the rental arrangements himself. My phone buzzed. Kate had come through with the passwords. With trembling fingers, I logged into Marcus's email account. And there it was, months of correspondence with Melissa, planning their parallel vacation. The rental agreement showing he actually booked 6 bedrooms, not 4. Airline itineraries for Melissa and her daughter, paid for with our joint account. Mom. Lucas's sleepy voice came from the back. Can we go inside soon? I looked at my children, then at the house where their father was playing happy family with his secret girlfriend. Something inside me hardened into resolve. Yes, baby, I said, starting the car. We're going somewhere even better. I pulled out of the parking lot and drove to the nearest Bank of America branch. It was closed, of course, but the ATM would serve my purpose. I had 20 minutes until midnight, 20 minutes to act before Marcus could realize what I was about to do. Our joint account held just over $45,000, the combined savings we'd been building for the kids' college funds. Marcus had always insisted on keeping the money there instead of moving it to a dedicated education account, claiming we needed the flexibility. Now I understood why. I began withdrawing cash in $800 increments, the maximum allowed. With each transaction, I imagined Marcus's face when he discovered what I'd done. He thought he could discard us, leave his children sleeping in a car while he played house with his girlfriend. He was about to learn a very expensive lesson about consequences. My phone buzzed again, Kate sending more screenshots from Marcus's email. Dinner reservations, spa appointments, even a ring purchase from 2 weeks ago. All paid for with our family savings, all meticulously planned behind my back. I made the final withdrawal just as the clock struck midnight. The account was now empty except for $100, the same amount he tried to give us for a hotel. Poetic justice, I thought, tucking the cash into my purse. I drove to the nicest beachfront hotel in town. The one with the water park the kids had begged to visit when we first planned this trip. Marcus had claimed it was too expensive, insisting we stick to our rental house budget. Good evening, I told the front desk clerk, pulling out my credit card, my personal one, not the joint account Marcus could access. I'd like your best oceanfront suite for the week. And do you still offer those dolphin watching tours my children were asking about earlier? The clerk's eyes lit up. Yes, ma'am. Would you like me to add that to your reservation? It includes breakfast and a private cabana. Perfect, I said, smiling for what felt like the first time in hours. And one more thing, if anyone asks for us, especially a man named Marcus Bennett, we're not here. I carried Lucas to bed while Emma sleepily followed, both kids too exhausted to even notice their luxurious surroundings. As I tucked them in, my phone began buzzing with texts from Marcus. Where are you? The ATM says insufficient funds. What did you do? Answer your phone right now. I silenced the notifications and walked out onto our private balcony, breathing in the salt air. Below, I could see our rental house, its lights still on as Marcus presumably discovered the consequences of his choices. My phone buzzed one final time, an email from Kate. She found something else in Marcus's accounts, something that would ensure he could never hurt us like this again. But that would wait until morning. For now, I watched the moonlight dance on the waves, listening to my children's peaceful breathing from the next room. Tomorrow would bring chaos, confrontation, and change. But tonight we were safe, comfortable, and far from the man who thought he could discard us so easily. I smiled, thinking of the dolphin tour tickets tucked safely in my purse. Marcus had chosen his new family over us? Fine. We would have the vacation of a lifetime without him. The kids and I deserved nothing less. Morning came with a symphony of seagulls and crashing waves. I barely slept, spending most of the night reviewing the documents Kate had uncovered. Each new revelation felt like another twist of the knife Marcus had plunged into our marriage. The email Kate found wasn't just evidence of an affair. It was proof of calculated financial deception spanning years. Marcus had been systematically diverting money from our joint accounts into a private one, using it to fund a lifestyle with Melissa that our children had been denied. Private school tuition for her daughter, Weekend getaways disguised as teaching conferences, even a down payment on a condo in Tampa, waiting for the right time to leave us. I was still processing this information when Emma wandered onto the balcony, her eyes wide as she took in the ocean view. Mom, this place is amazing. But why aren't we at the other house with Dad? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Marcus again, his 20th call since midnight. This time I answered. Where is my money? He roared, not bothering with pleasantries. Our money, I corrected calmly, is being put to better use than funding your girlfriend's lifestyle. How's Melissa enjoying my rental house? The line went silent for a moment. Then his voice dripping with venom. You've lost your mind. I'm calling the police. Go ahead, I replied, opening my laptop. I'm sure they'd be very interested in these bank statements showing how you've been embezzling from our children's college fund. Or maybe they'd like to see the deed to that Tampa condo you bought with Melissa 2 months ago. How did you? Did you really think Kate wouldn't keep those passwords when she set up your accounts? The same Kate who works in digital forensics. Lucas appeared in the doorway, rubbing his eyes. Mom, can we get breakfast? Of course, sweetie, I said, then back to Marcus. I have to go. Our kids are hungry. You remember them, right? The ones you made sleep in a car last night. Olivia, wait. I ended the call and took the kids down to the hotel's breakfast buffet. They were delighted by the chocolate chip pancakes and ocean view, their excitement almost making me forget the nightmare of last night. Almost. My phone buzzed with a text from Kate. He just found his life insurance policy. Guess who he changed the beneficiary to last month? I excused myself from the table, stepping away to call her. Tell me everything. What Kate had discovered was the final nail in the coffin of my marriage. Marcus hadn't just been planning a new life with Melissa. He'd been systematically erasing us from his old one. The life insurance policy was just the beginning. He's been moving money around for months, Kate explained. Setting up accounts in her name, changing beneficiaries, even putting her daughter as a dependent on his teaching insurance. But here's where he messed up. He used our family email domain for everything. The same domain I helped set up and still technically administer. I watched Emma and Lucas chatting happily over their pancakes, unaware that their father had been planning to abandon them so thoroughly. Send me everything, I said. And Kate? Thank you. Don't thank me yet, she replied. There's more. Remember that private investigator you hired and called off? I found his report in your cloud storage. You might want to see what he discovered about Melissa's background. After breakfast, I settled the kids in the hotel's children's program, a full day of supervised beach activities and crafts. Then I retreated to our suite to read the PI's report. Melissa, it turned out, had quite a history. 3 previous marriages, each ending when she drained her husband's accounts and disappeared. Her daughter? A prop, borrowed from her sister to make her stories more convincing. The real kicker? Her name wasn't even Melissa. My hands were shaking as I compiled everything into a single document. The fraud, the theft, the false identity. Just as I finished, a commotion erupted in the hotel hallway. You can't stop me from seeing my kids, Marcus's voice boomed. I'm their father. I opened the door to find him facing off with hotel security, his face red with rage. Behind him stood Melissa, trying to look concerned while shooting nervous glances at the exit. Actually, I said, holding up my phone, you forfeited that right when you made them sleep in a car so you could play house with a con artist. Speaking of which, hello, Patricia. Or do you prefer Melissa? I'm sure your parole officer would love to know you've crossed state lines. The color drained from Melissa's face. Without a word, she turned and fled, leaving Marcus staring after her in confusion. What are you talking about? He demanded. I handed him the PI's report. Seems your girlfriend forgot to mention her outstanding warrants in Georgia and Florida. But don't worry, I'm sure the FBI will help you sort it all out. They're very interested in her pattern of identity theft and bank fraud. Marcus slumped against the wall, the reality of his situation finally hitting him. Olivia, I can explain. Save it for your lawyer. I cut him off. You'll be hearing from mine soon. Oh, and Marcus, the kids are having the time of their lives without you. Emma's going on a dolphin watching tour this afternoon, something you said we couldn't afford while you were buying condos for your girlfriend. I turned to the security guards. Please escort him out and add him to the do not admit list. Later that afternoon, I sat on the beach watching Emma and Lucas build sandcastles with their new friends from the kids' club. My phone kept buzzing with updates. Melissa/Patricia had been arrested trying to board a flight to Mexico. Marcus's school had placed him on administrative leave pending an investigation into misused funds. Kate had found even more evidence of his financial manipulation. But none of that mattered as much as the sound of my children's laughter carrying across the sand. They were resilient, adapting to our new reality with a strength that amazed me. Yes, there would be hard conversations ahead. Yes, our lives would change dramatically. But watching them play, I knew we would be okay. My phone buzzed one final time, an email from my lawyer. She had already filed for emergency custody and frozen all our remaining assets. But more importantly, she had uncovered something interesting about the beach house rental. The property is owned by Patricia's last victim, she wrote. He's willing to testify about how she scammed him, and he's offering to let you and the kids stay there for the remainder of your vacation, free of charge. Poetic justice. I smiled, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. Tomorrow we would move into the beach house that Marcus had tried to deny us. Tomorrow we would continue building our new life without him. But tonight we would enjoy our oceanfront suite, order room service, and plan our dolphin watching adventure. Tonight we would celebrate our freedom from a man who thought he could discard us so easily. Marcus had chosen his path, thinking he held all the power. He never expected his quiet, accommodating wife to fight back. He never imagined I would not only survive his betrayal but thrive in spite of it. That evening, as I tucked the kids into their plush hotel beds, Emma asked a question that made my heart ache. Mom, is Dad ever coming back? I stroked her hair, choosing my words carefully. Sometimes, sweetie, the best thing a person can do is leave our lives. Your father made choices that hurt us, but we're going to be okay. Better than okay. Because we have each other. Lucas chimed in. Exactly, I smiled. And because we're stronger than he ever knew. After they fell asleep, I stood on the balcony again, watching the moonlight dance on the waves. The beach house that was meant to be the site of our family's destruction would instead become the launching point for our new beginning. Marcus had wanted to throw us away, but he'd only succeeded in setting us free. And as I listened to the rhythm of the ocean and my children's peaceful breathing, I knew with absolute certainty that we had already won. The vacation he tried to steal from us, it was just the beginning of our greatest adventure, a life without his lies, manipulation, and betrayal. A life where my children would learn that they deserved better than what their father had tried to give them. A life that was finally and completely our own.